Hey
Hey
guys,
guys.
Ladell and Danielle Hart here again. We're so excited to bring you guys another video. We have a really cool, exciting topic that I think
Yeah.
a lot of you guys will enjoy.
Yeah. It's
So,
actually a topic that's asked a lot, so we, figured let's do a video on it,
let's do a
right?
video on it.
Yeah.
So, we get asked a lot, what are the steps that you guys took to be able to start this journey to convert to Orthodox Judaism?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're going to talk about today. The steps that we took to start our journey. What did we do? And we're going to kind of take you from start to, I guess, finish where we are right. Well, we haven't finished,
We haven't
but
finished, but
this is where we
the
are right now.
process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So our first step that we actually took was to make sure that we understood why we wanted to do this.
Yep.
I'm actually going to let Ladero kind of elaborate a little bit more on what does that mean.
yeah, sometimes people would want to convert for the wrong reasons. I mean, like for example, some people can want to connect to maybe some major key figures within Jewish culture. Maybe they want to build relationships with them. Maybe they want to, maybe, we've seen this. There are people literally who try to get inside of the Jewish community to try and convert Jews to Christianity, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of messianic people out there. There's a whole bunch of people who are kind of undercover missionaries, things like that. So you want to just make sure that you know exactly why you're doing this. When we started reading the Jewish Bible, the Tanakh, it lit us up.
Yeah.
And it made us start wanting to ask a lot more questions. And what does this mean? Well, okay, well, if I'm learning this here, then what does this mean over here? And the questions started to really get our gears turning,
Yeah.
and it started leading us down the right path. And then the beautiful thing is we kept getting answers.
Exactly.
That's the beautiful thing about Judaism. We had a lot of answers.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. Like your neshama should be gravitating for wanting more and more and that desire. So yeah, your motive should definitely be in the right place. Because I know for us that definitely was, it was a hunger. It was a
Yeah.
desire to understand more about Judaism and wanting to fully go all the way with converting, right? Also, I know a major, factor, which we've gotten some questions about, or we've had people come to us that expressed maybe their personal challenge with, is you and your spouse on the same page, right? Because sometimes that's not always the case. We've gotten messages where people will tell us, hey, my spouse isn't really on the same page as me, and wanting to, go fully all the way with a conversion, which is okay, right? Me and Ladero, we always talk about you and your spouse should definitely be on the same page, because what's going to happen is that's going to cause friction and challenges, and you're definitely not going to have shalom bayit in your home. So the best thing that we always say, especially for somebody like that, is just continue to grow, be the example, be the leader in your family, but don't put pressure on that person. I think by letting go of the pressure on that person will come into their own decision. Maybe they won't want to go fully and convert, but maybe they will. But just be the example of wanting to study Torah, and maybe even encouraging your spouse to just study with you, right? So I think that's the best ways. But it's very important that you and your spouse aren't on the same page, because for us, we definitely were.
Yeah. And when we started thinking about this journey, who do we talk to? Each other.
Yeah.
We had to make sure that it wasn't just me or it wasn't just her. We had to make sure that we were going to move together at the same pace.
Yeah.
Cool.
And kind of to elaborate just a little bit more on that, of our understanding as well of everything, because maybe he was more, advanced. I'm not gonna say advanced, but maybe his understanding for things were more at a higher level. But we came together to learn together, right? So that's important, that you are learning together with your spouse, and one is not kind of just saying, hey, I feel like I'm about to go light years ahead of you. I think it's important for you guys to be on the same page with learning too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the next thing is letting go of your past beliefs. And I think this is very important, because if you're not careful, it can be very easy to drag in some of your old beliefs and some of your old doctrines that you were once holding on to. For example, before we started our Jewish journey, we were heavily involved in Christianity. And so we had to really, really make sure that we were cleansed, so to speak. Our minds were free from how we used to think. In Judaism, you really have to make sure that you're ready to receive all this new information. And you can't build a foundation for Torah with a foundation of other religious beliefs as well. It has to be clean. Yeah, we had to make sure that we understood some very, very basic and fundamental principles within Judaism. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. But making sure you're letting go of what you used to think, how you used to think, how you used to move around in other religious circles, and you have to start with a fresh, clean slate in Judaism.
Yeah, and if we can be 100% honest with you guys, which we love to be honest, right? You know, when we were first, you know, kind of transitioning and learning about Judaism, of just letting go of the whole thought of, you know, JC being the Messiah, because that was something that we were just, well, especially him, raised on that, right? Of thinking that. So letting that go, it took a little bit of time to let that go and to have a complete understanding of what that meant. And that's why we say it's important to get that cleanse and understand your belief system is going to change a whole, you know, it's going to be a complete difference when it comes to Judaism.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the main things is letting go of Jesus.
Yeah.
And for a little bit, when we started really learning Torah and Judaism, that was, I think, maybe the toughest battle to really wrap our minds around, that in the Jewish world, Jesus was not the Messiah. And I think that's the biggest thing. Because in Judaism, there's a criteria for the Messiah. Within the Jewish context, there's certain things that the Jewish Messiah will do.
Yeah.
And so, again, being willing to 100% let that go, you know, it's gonna be very, very crucial to you moving forward.
Yeah. So another important factor for us was to really make sure that we were studying, right? That was, I think, you know, the studying is what led us into making the decision of converting into, you know, Orthodox Judaism, and, you know, buying books. Like we got the Tanakh. We did a lot of studying. We watched even videos. Rabbi Tobias Singer. It was important for us to really just study together and to have that understanding of what Judaism is all about.
It was important for us to make sure that we were studying the proper texts. And I think we've mentioned this in a couple of our videos before, why it was important for us to get a Jewish Bible. Because the Christian Bibles are different. There's a Old Testament, and then there's another book called the New Testament attached onto it. And the Old Testament is supposed to be the Tanakh, and I say supposed to be because there's a lot of alterations there. There's some additions, there's some subtractions, and all these different things. There's some reordering and things like that. But basically, the Jewish Tanakh was taken, altered, and then they attached another book called the New Testament on top of it. And I'm saying all this because we had to make sure that we got rid of that and started reading from Jewish texts to make sure that we understood the Jewish way of thinking.
Yeah.
That was very, very important. And then there's tons of books, and we'll throw a lot of books in the description as well. A lot of books that, like the Tanakh, right? There's the stone edition of the Tanakh that we recommend. There was a Chumash. There was a lot of books on just personal development and ethics and morality and things like that. It was just the Jewish way of thinking. And that started to really, really cleanse us so that we can start thinking differently. Right? So it's very important.
Yeah, my husband went on literally a book rampage of But like literally it was like every other day, oh, I got this book, I got this book, I got this
We
book.
were hungry.
Yeah. So, it was because it was like you read one thing and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, there's Rashi. You can read Rashi's commentary on this, or you can have this and this. And it was like, it's just, you have so many resources that you can read from, and then you can learn and get better understanding. And that just helped us a whole lot.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Rashi is a very, very excellent resource too. Rashi talks about the simple meaning of the text, which I think is very, very important, especially for people who are beginning
Yeah.
to really, really learn. So Rashi is a great, great resource. One of the most famous commentators on the Torah is Rashi. So it's a good place to start. So that leads into something else that was very, very foundational, which was Rambam's 13 principles of faith. And this is key, guys. And I'm going to put this in the description as well. You guys can click on the link there. But the 13 principles of faith is Judaism's foundational ways of thinking. So for example, one of the principles of faith is the belief in God's absolute and unparalleled unity. Believing that God is one, not two, not three, not millions, but he's one. That's foundational. You can't start the path of wanting to convert to Judaism and you think that he's this triune being. You can't think like that. Also another one, worshiping God exclusively. You can't worship no other gods. No other gods. Another huge one, believing that Moses was the prophet of all prophets.
But I love that he mentioned about understanding that Moses was the prophet, right? Because in Christianity, you're not taught that at all. You're not, Moses isn't really spoken about on the level that he is in Judaism. And to be honest, I didn't know how powerful Moses really was until we did learn, especially about the 13 principles of faith, and then also just understanding Moses, like, it's like he wrote the 5 books. Like, you're not taught that really. And so that was a big deal, for us to really have that understanding of how powerful of a prophet Moses really was.
Believing with complete faith that all of the words of the prophets are true. You have to believe all of it. You can't just cherry pick and believe this and I'm going to believe this, but then you argue that this prophet said this or he was from no. All the words of the prophets are true. Believing that the creator of the universe does not have a body. He's not corporeal. Like he doesn't have a body. He doesn't have a body. He doesn't have a body. He's not a man god, a demigod. He's not something that you can grasp. He didn't come here through a virgin birth and all of that stuff. So that's why we said that you have to go through a cleansing if you want to convert to Orthodox Judaism. So if you like videos like this, please make sure that you leave a like, drop a comment in there, and subscribe to our channel so that you can be in the loop of every single thing that we put out. And if you want to take it a step further, you can turn on notifications so every time we post a video, you get notified. And if you want to take it to the next level, you want a little bit more, a little bit of extra of the House of Lave, then you can sign up to be a part of our membership club where we give extra insights, we give extra teachings, extra videos, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, bloopers,
and
extra lives, and extra life, all those things, right? So check it out. We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being amazing, and we'll see you on the next video.